What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi, and I pray that you have had a fantastic weekend and that everything went your way. I'm back now because I have to address this. As you will recall, and there are videos here on the channel, I did extensive videos with regard to the R. Kelly situation. And I also did some stuff on Bill Cosby, but particularly R. Kelly, because now Lifetime has announced that there's going to be a second part of this nonsense that's supposed to begin in January, to get my fake British accent on. And it's important to recall that now because of what's going on with Cuba Gooding Jr. By the way, I worked with his brother many years ago out in Washington, D.C. I'll tell you about that a little later on. His brother Omar. Who wasn't, I won't say wasn't nice. We'll get to that. But I worked with his brother. And it's important, I need for my audience to understand, especially any of you all. I was going to say especially my female viewers, but I'm not going to just limit it to the women. I'm going to include the men because we know that men and boys are, sexually abused and harassed and things like that. But I want to say one of the reasons why I spoke on the R. Kelly thing and my whole position, this is so important, because I'm not having the regular conversation about R. Kelly's innocence or guilt so much. I am addressing the principal issue in a societal context. That's what you need to understand right out the gate, first of all right? So that when I say, as I did in my piece, one of the pieces that I did on R. Kelly, I said, I stand behind him wholeheartedly or something like that. I ride with him to the end or something to that effect. I don't know the language, I know my feeling. Because my feelings are the same. And this is not an either or proposition. That's what we must understand. This is a both and. I've always said to my audience, throw out this either or stuff. You need to expand your thinking to be able to receive both and. This way you can understand that two things can exist in one space and both can be valid. So that one can have what I'm going to express about R. Kelly. One can have that view, and then one can also have that view without any knock or disrespect or inconsideration or insensitivity to people who are or have been victims of, sexual harassment or abuse, all right? Again, I'm speaking at it through a societal context as African people. That's so essential. Because I tell you, we don't get to be a part of or have the same responses to or to co-sign on anything that white America is doing or saying, because our experience on the earth is uniquely different than anybody else's that's ever existed or will exist ever on the earth because of white people and the crime of slavery and their oppression and discrimination and racism and evil that continues to the very moment that I sit here speaking. This is the context from which we must understand this. All right? I need to lay foundation in your mind so that you're clear, all right, of the context in which we're speaking about this. All right? And so that we don't have Malik Yoba lips. I'm over it. Random as hell, I'm going to say this to you guys. When I was younger, even though now I'm only 30, K.R. Watkins, I love you. I love you. Uh, I used to I used to hate the fact that my lips weren't, I wanted thick lips, you know, and I just didn't have them, you know. My brother, who is not, one of my brothers, who's not the next sibling, but he's the next boy, he's 7 years older than me, and he, like my father, always had full lips. My father also had the softest lips too, Rahimullah. My father, rest his soul, was, because my father used to kiss, and my father had the softest lips. I miss his kisses. But anyway, I used to always wish that I had bigger lips, and over time my lips have come into their own. Like, I love my lips now. And like my father, I have soft lips. That's random as hell. Anyway, and also I have my tea on deck, y'all. Now, my serious followers, type what type of tea I'm drinking. I'm not gonna say it. Y'all know. Type what type of tea I'm drinking. Anyways, the societal context of this, everybody, is not the right and wrong, really, of R. Kelly from my perspective and my view. It is the hypocrisy. You know, the parable that I give you is you walk into a crack house, and now you're complaining that somebody's having sex in the corner, or some female over in the corner has her legs open and she's got no underwear on, or there's trash on the floor and there's rats rolling around. You're in a crack house. There's not going to be Versace couches. So this is the proverbial crack house, America, as I cast it. This is the proverbial crack house. This is where sin and unrighteousness is being normalized daily as I speak. It's being normalized. It has been normalized for women to walk around in states of undress. This fulfills the prophecy of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said that they will be dressed yet naked. Everybody's doing that now. It's not just the women, but particularly women. You know, I'm over plunging cleavage and breasts out everywhere and ass out everywhere. I'm a man, and I'm sick of it. You know, it desensitizes you almost. Like, I call it the cheeseburger effect. You know, what makes a woman stand out for me now is that woman who is regal and is covered, and you know, like, I'm forced to just understand her humanity, her intellect, and her personality. I'm not attracted to you immediately if I'm seeing everything. I'm over it already. Center parts and, you know, wigs, I'm over that. So those are all cheeseburgers, I call it. So the woman who stands out now to myself, and I would think I speak for a lot of men who are really men, the women that stand out now are the ones who are not the cheeseburgers. It's like somebody give you a cheeseburger every single day. You're glad to have something to eat, but it's a cheeseburger still. The moment somebody brings you something else, you're like, oh my God, you would pay more attention to that and savor it more, because it's nothing like the cheeseburgers you've been getting for the last 15 years. So it's normalized now for women to display themselves. You know, the society is sexualized all day, every damn day. You know, they say that sex sells. Sex don't sell nothing. Sex sells sex. It don't sell shit else. It don't. Oh my God, there was a naked lady laying on that Ferrari. Quick, let me go buy a Ferrari. How are they related? They're not related. And sex sells usually means objectifying women. That's what it usually means. Because the moment that women proclaim their power and say, No. Sex sells means now we're going to have men everywhere in Speedos and with their nutsacks hanging out. And we're going to have their butt cracks. And we're going to have, and we're going to have. Then men will react to that. Out of their phobia, will react to that. And suddenly this whole sex sells thing will go completely away from the lexicon. No one will say it anymore. It's like when we used to hear it more than I think I hear it now. You know, a man's greatest fantasy is two women. You see, and women go along with that. Oh my God, she's amazing, and they're kissing and slobbing up on each other. They're not even lesbian. They're just doing it. But the moment women say, no, our greatest fantasy is for two men, that will no longer be a part of the lexicon. While at the same time promoting this LBGT stuff every day, all damn day. You see? So it's the hypocrisy of the society. The hypocrisy. The hypocrisy. R. Kelly can sing, "You Remind Me of My Jeep." How does any woman remind you of a fucking Jeep? We know he didn't mean it in a derogatory way. We know that. But let's just use it basically and say, and get real sensitive and say, oh, how does a woman remind you of a damn Jeep? And let us all be collectively outraged at that, you see. Let us just all be outraged, you see. So he can, my point is that he can say that. And then, but now, it's, you can talk about women any type of way. That's okay. And then you can sexualize women in your videos and in your songs and blah, 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 blah. And then you can now have young girls and young women who have been sexualized since they came to Earth, can't wait to open their legs and show their bodies and, you know, all of this. We're no longer in an old-fashioned society because they made it that way. This baby's mama, baby father, that's all acceptable. You can have babies out of wedlock, that's fine. You can have sex out of wedlock, that's fine. You should. You should be able to be empowered is the word I hate so much and sends me to the ICU. You can be empowered now with your body, they say to women. Every 5 minutes there's some new Spanx or some new L'Oreal or some new something that's supposed to make women more beautiful and make them feel more empowered and all this nonsense. And I am over it. Again, the hypocrisy of the collective, of the overall society from an African point of view. Just because someone has told you that sin and unrighteousness is right and acceptable does not make it so. So for me, in this crack house of sin, I can't find fault with what R. Kelly has done because every single one of these women were willing. Nobody was dragged kicking and screaming. Nobody was handcuffed and blindfolded and had duct tape put over their mouths. No one had a gun put to their head. This is the facts. So this idea that the society wants to jump up and be all self-righteous and moral is not acceptable to me. While at the same time, Harvey Weinstein putting on a very dramatic fake display of disability there he is hobbling on a walker into court, and he's got to be held by 8 people to walk 4 steps, and no. But meanwhile, he just paid out several $million to all the victims. You see? While they're doing another thing on R. Kelly, while they have Cuba Gooding going back and forth to jail, while the liars, these homosexual liars, are getting up on TV proclaiming that Michael Jackson did something, they're ready to literally dig him out of the grave, while Oprah Winfrey is marching around the earth antagonizing Russell Simmons. You see, I'm a big picture person, everybody. And their evil and unfairness and lopsided uh, uh, lopsided morality only materializes with us. I ain't seen nobody white going to jail. Even these white heifers that did the university entrance scams, there's not really anything going on there. It's fake. So we as African people don't get the chance to join their chorus. We should be singing this song and saying, nah, y'all made all this, so don't point this out as if this is what's wrong, yet we're all in the damn crack house. Nah. Because we don't hear any of them joining this chorus that I'm speaking. None of them is defending R. Kelly. None of them is defending Cuba. None of them is defending Michael Jackson. None of them, keep going. None of them is defending Russell Simmons, and they're outraged. None of them. Matt Lauer was sitting up there talking to Bill O'Reilly about sexual harassment, all this stuff, while he was guilty. Gayle King became all the rage when she sat up there playing the fiddle for Massa to R. Kelly, while Charlie Rose was sitting next to her every damn day. And he was ousted. We haven't heard any more about him. They get to go away, or they get to apologize, they get to pay a fine, or step down, or something. But with us, it's a major case. Bill Cosby is the worst thing on earth. And let us also be over that. Listen, I don't care what you've done in life. There's a statute of limitation for stuff. Don't come at me years after the fact and now you're a victim. You're not a victim. I will hold that position until my head is cold. I don't need to join this chorus just because that's what everybody else is doing. Again, just everybody else is doing, don't make it right. We were all told as children, what, if everybody else jump out the bridge, then you going to do it too? Your parents would say to you. So, nah, there is a statute of limitation. And if you were of an age where you knew right from wrong, you didn't have a mental handicap, or you weren't on medication, everybody in any of these cases knew what they were doing and could have made a different choice. These women who were victimized by Harvey Weinstein, your career or your dignity, heifer, which one? Which one? Because we're not having you coming up 15, 20 years later and now you're some kind of a victim. No. You're not going to have your cake and eat it too. Sometimes you have to make hard choices in life. Well, you just don't get to be an actress now. You just don't get to. You see, go do something else. Go do hair. Go get a medical degree. Do something. Go be a lawyer. Go be a lawyer. I'm over it. Do you understand me? And particularly I'm riled up now because of this Cuba Gooding Jr. thing. That was enough. And then when I found out that they're doing another part of this R. Kelly thing, that made me sick and disgusted. And I'm just over it. While the society is still sexualized, every damn day they still want to say this. Then you have T.I., who is doing a responsible thing. At the very least, we knew his intentions were pure. And they wanted to scandalize that. So wait, which one do you want? You want R. Kelly with allegedly these hot girls and hot women who throwing themselves at R. Kelly. You want that? Or you want T.I., a father, a responsible father and provider for his family, checking the chastity of his teenage daughter. I'm picking T.I. You see what I'm saying? But they scandalized that. But meanwhile, at the same time they're talking shit about T.I., well, that's her body and she can do that. They have nothing to say about her going out and displaying her body or having premarital sex or having children out of wedlock, etc. You understand? Do you see the hypocrisy that I'm pointing out? Like, don't say stuff about your daughter. Oh, you're embarrassing her. She unfollowed you on social media. And woo, woo, woo. But we're fine. Oh, she looks amazing. She looks amazing. She could show 5 kids and some dude that's not taking care of the kids and all of that. She can do all of that. But this is a problem, what T.I. is doing. You see, that which is wicked will be made to seem normal to them, says the Creator of the heavens and the earth. You're living this prophecy. You're living it. So I'm trying to give you the the bridge from which you need to look at this. You're trying to be down in it. You see, you can step back and say, whoa, let me look at this. And let me look at it through the prism of righteousness and hypocrisy and double standard and historical racism and evil. You understand? Suddenly, this idea of R. Kelly becomes different. Different. Well, I hadn't thought about it like that. One of his first accusers, McGee or something, Asante McGee or Asani McSomething. She was on Dr. Oz the other day, or recently. And I listen to everything as a lawyer, as a trier of fact. So there she was up there, and she was, there was a black room, even the toilet was black, everything was black, and that's where all the sex went on, and okay, all that's fine, but the Jedi's listening for something else. Tell me the part where you ran from the house, because when she opened her story, she starts talking about how, because he asked her, well, when did you be, I'm loosely reciting his question now. How did you come to live there or something like that? And she was like, well, I didn't have no choice in it. I was just told you live here now. Now, my black mind can translate that to, I know she with her girls, girl, he told me I live there now. We've all seen sisters like that. They meet some new dude or something like that, he told me he wanted me to have a pair of new shoes. He told me you wearing them. And they sized about it, you see. This was in that same tone for me. I didn't have no choice about it. He told me, you live here now. You're home now. Welcome home. So my ears listened for, is that the part where you said, no, I'm a woman, I have my own address, and you ran for the door? Okay, that's not it. All right, fine. All right, then you're in your own room. And then she started talking about, but then he had all these rules for the house, and you couldn't come out of your room without letting somebody know, and you can just move around that. Okay, that's when you ran for the door, right? Still not when you ran for the door. I was waiting for this moment, and it didn't happen because she was there willingly, as were all these heifers. Don't give me age but he knew better. No, I'm over all of that. It's just like when I told you about Malik Yoba and the thing that was up in New York, the thing that was now is saying, he knew I was underage. He knew I was underage. She's a transgender. He knew I was underage. Okay, but you knew you was underage. And you were out there hooking and selling your body. So how do you suddenly become the righteous one in all of this? I'm just a fair-minded person, everybody. And when stuff don't make sense, it just don't make sense. Period. And what's good for the goose is always good for the gander. It's just, this is nonsense. He knew I was underage. But you knew you was underage. You knew you was a hooker. You knew that prostitution was illegal. You knew. Now here you come years later. He knew I was underage. Well, I don't have any sympathy for you now. Had you not been out there selling your body, you want to tell me he rolled up on you, forced you into his car, and took you someplace and had sex with you, I am on your side. I'm staying in the courtroom as a witness. Nah. We're not going to parse out over what's... No. It's like you have some ground beef or ground turkey. And oh my God, shattered glass went all over it. You're throwing that whole thing out. Because the glass is so fine, you know if you eat it, you're going to get some glass. It's all bad now. You've got to throw it out. That's this for me. All of it's got to go. All of it's got to go. But what they're doing is they want you to sit there and pick out glass. Well, that part's good. And no, we're not doing that. The Jedi is not doing that. I'm calling it for what it is. And I'm being brutally honest with it. And brutally sane about it. Because this insanity is not working for me. I'm on a different vibration. And truth and righteousness is the only thing that matters for me. It is premier. You understand? It is premiere. So now, there she was telling her story on Dr. Oz, and again, no gun, no, I was forced against my will, I was held. It was none of that. Even when he asked her, so when did you finally get the courage to leave? And her answer was so evasive that I can't recite it to you. But it didn't answer the question. And it wouldn't answer the question, because the truth of the fact is, she could have left anytime she wanted to, just like everybody else. Just like anybody else. So then they give you, well, they were brainwashed. Because now R. Kelly, who can't read, who's illiterate, a man who cannot read or write, and now he's this mastermind of psychological manipulation. It does not pass the smell test. It doesn't pass the smell test. Just like 9/11/2001, they gave you these alleged terrorists who went to flight school, couldn't land a plane, couldn't take off, didn't know how to fly a plane. I feel like they dropped out of flight school or something like this, but they were able to do moves that only fighter jets can do. Certainly in the case of the plane that the alleged plane that hit the Pentagon, were able to do a move that only fighter aircraft can do. So this is that for me. That he's this master manipulator. A man who has money and fame and can have any woman that he wants willingly. You want to tell me he looked like, Mitch McConnell and he wasn't famous? And you want to tell me that he had to resort to this because he simply couldn't get no female at all? I'll entertain your conversation. You see what I'm saying? At least you got my favorite tea for me to sip on. Slow down, my people. Slow down. Slow down and think. Use your intellect. Listen to the whisper of your soul, because that is the voice of God. It's never wrong. It's never wrong. It's the only way I live my life, is from that whisper. It's from the whisper. So, no one was held against their will. Fact. No one was held at gunpoint. Fact. No one was tied up and dragged away to the lair of R. Kelly. That's a fact. You see? So when you start pulling all this stuff away, you go, well, then how were they there? Then they have to give away, brainwash them. So they would have left, but they were brainwashed. You see? Just like in the case of Bill Cosby. These heifers want to show up. First of all, you're drinking. First of all, men being alone with women is not something that should be. But they've normalized that. A woman's supposed to be around a man with nothing on damn near, parading around in heels, and that's supposed to be okay. Now, where I come from, if you play with fire, you get burned. You just do. That's what we were told since we were kids. Don't play with fire. It's dangerous. You could burn the house down, etc., etc. Not to mention my phase I went through with striking matches. That's something else to be in the book. Let's not focus on that. Right? It was in Arkansas, but that's something else. But that's not what we're talking about, though. But that's not what we're talking about, though. So why are you bringing that up, though? But that's not even. But that's not even what we're talking about. You see what I'm saying? So why are you bringing this up anyway? So in that case, it was, well, he drugged them. You see? Not that they probably would have slept with him anyway. But again, the final bone of contention for me in all of this is these years later stuff with some of these other cases outside of R. Kelly, and that's going to segue me into Cuba Gooding Jr. because you don't get to come forward on anything years later, and now suddenly there's an issue. Nah, it's just victimization has become normalized now. While at the same time, again, the big society, they're always telling African people, get over it. We're not allowed to be victims. We're not allowed to be victims. You see, we're not allowed to go and blow up the entire police precinct after yet another one of us has been murdered, or find the cop of the house and burn it to ashes. We're supposed to get over it. We're not allowed to be victims. You see? Again, you got to look at the big picture. You have to stay conscious of that. You see, this is how I walk around, in a state of consciousness and awareness. Knowing that I'm not an American, I'm not part of this, and I'm not an American. You understand? I'm an African. Period. I'm not part of this society. So I'm always looking at it from a view of advantage. You see? But you don't get to come years later and all of a sudden you're a victim. Because it's just become popularized now. Muster up some tears and say you're a victim. And then you're supposed to ruin somebody's life way after the fact. Even this LGBT nonsense stuff, they want you now, if you've used some derogatory term to describe gay people in the past, 50 years ago, you're supposed to come out now and say, I was wrong and I should have done that, and oh my God. No. Because where do we get to the part where we start holding white people daily accountable for not just slavery, but all the shit they've continued to do? They never stopped their evil since 1619. You bring up the subject of reparations. Well, I wasn't part of that. I wasn't alive then. I didn't have slaves. You weren't a slave. You weren't born then. Huh? Well, I wasn't there when Bill Cosby did anything. I wasn't there when these bitches decided to move in with R. Kelly. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. You see what I'm saying? So let's be consistent. Let's be consistent. Otherwise, it's just hypocrisy. This is the real of it. And don't give me, well, you know, some people just don't like to come forward, and well, then that's just, again, you seal your fate with the choices you make. That can still be okay, and it can still be okay the other way. So you didn't have the courage to come forward? That's fine. Nobody's going to take that from you. That's your right. You didn't have the courage to come forward. So this person doesn't get a chance to be a criminal now, based on what happened then, and you just suddenly decided that now it's a problem. Because who would tolerate, I ask you this now, who would tolerate you're on stage at your college graduation, let's say, and here comes your mother with a belt, or your father, and they're not going to give you an ass whooping for some shit you did when you were 4 years old? How fast do you think security would be on them, and they would have CPS in the building? Or at least somebody from the crazy house. Something would go on. And you go, I owe them that whooping from when they was 4 years old. They would look at you like you were crazy. And then if you said, well, I just didn't have the courage to give them a whooping then. I just didn't have the courage. They'd be like, bitch, this is a grown ass person now. So we don't care about what courage you found. This is just inappropriate. And so is this. There is no difference. There is no difference. Now, Cuba Gooding Jr., by the way, not surprised, because I always, from the time whenever Cuba Gooding Jr. came on my radar, I've never like really focused on him because he's into white women. So he was just the dude that's got white women. That's, you know, I ain't really a fan. I know who he is if I see him, but that's him. So I don't feel no connection to him. I just don't. No, I just don't. I just don't. Now, more women are accusing Cuba Gooding Jr. of sexual misconduct. You see? So now it's just the whole gates are open now. Every heifer now. And what also provoked me to do this and got me worked up is because everything I was hearing just in news pieces was nothing that I will call, I'll use the word substantial here, if you will. I didn't hear anything substantial. It was inappropriate comments or groping, or, you know, there was no rape, and there was even when I heard one heifer claim he asked me to urinate in his mouth. Okay, how's that a crime? I'm sorry, what happened? When did that, what happened? What? I'm sorry, did you guys, was there, you come on. Meanwhile, the white devil that sits in the Oval Office right now, who has been under every indictment and suspicion and everything else since before he was even elected, there they have him, the Access Hollywood thing of him saying to Billy Bush it's okay to grope women and grab their crotches and all this. And he's president. So now, hold up now. So I'm supposed to get worked up and be upset over Cuba Gooding Jr.? I'm not a psychotic person. That's for psychos who have bought into this white psychology. That's not for the Jedi. You understand? And I am the captain of my vessel. You understand? And I stand at my gate. Now, 7 more heifers have come forward with allegations of unwanted touching. Because I didn't read the word rape, didn't read the word sodomy, didn't read the word, anything substantial again is the word I'm using. We'll start again. And for new people, the Jedi never reads anything in advance. I see an article title, it looks like it discusses what I'm going with, and we begin to read. All right? The purpose of that is so that you get my fresh reaction. It also shows my intellectual capacity to do dissertation. And through that, I'm trying to teach you how to discern and receive information and to filter stuff when you're being exposed to it. All right? So 7 more heifers have come forward with allegations of unwanted touching against actor Cuba Gooding Jr., court documents show. The Oscar-winning actor pleaded not guilty and denied all wrongdoing in October to charges of forcible touching and sex abuse stemming from 3 alleged incidents involving 3 separate accusers that took place in 2018 and 2019 in New York. But I heard cases that went back to 2011. I feel like I heard something from the 1990s. Maybe this will mention it. All right. Prosecutors previously said at least 15 heifers have accused Gooding of misconduct. Misconduct. So you want to bring this man's entire world down when the whole fucking society is nothing but misconduct? I just can't buy into that, y'all. I can't buy into that. I'm sorry, damn it. Uh-oh, wait. Oh, okay, misconduct. The new allegations date to 2003, okay, with the most recent in 2016, all right? So going back to 2003, which means you lost any ability to have any complaint. I don't want to hear about you. Especially he didn't do anything that was life-threatening, and there wasn't a rape, and come on. And then with the most recent 2016, so that's 4 years ago. And we assume anybody who's complaining in we're calling this 2020 now. That means you weren't 3 years old in 2016. You were a grown person who knew right from wrong. So again, it's just this, they've popularized this after the fact victim shit now. That's what I'm against. I'm against that. And I also know that time really does heal. So at some point, you've gotten over that. That's just the way life is. At some point, you really are over it. I can come out now. Again, I can come out now and say something. No, you can't. And if you do, that's fine. But now this person doesn't need to suffer for that. Because let's go back. There's companies now. Their name is the same now as it was when they had us in physical chattel slavery. Huh? We don't see none of them trying to rectify and compensate African people. It was so long ago. Well, it was so long ago. Okay, wait, what's happening? What's happening? Wait now. They reference incidents that allegedly took place in Los Angeles, Malibu, New York, Atlanta, San Francisco, and at a bar in Park City, Utah, during the Sundance Film Festival, according to a filing by Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance in the state Supreme Court. So Cyrus Vance is just somebody trying to seek political trying to be politically upwardly mobile. You understand? That very person has probably got all kinds of skeletons and rocks in their damn closet. Again, it's the hypocrisy, everybody. You want to tell me we live in a Muslim country where the word of God is the law of the land? Then I'm happy to hear any of this. But you don't get to tell me that in this crack whore of Satan. You understand that? Remember, it was Jerry Maguire where there was Cuba Gooding with his bare ass literally on screen saying, "Show me the money." That was fine, though. To put a black man or any man's naked ass on film for all of humanity to see, that's okay. You see the hypocrisy? So don't get purist on me now. The women who were not identified, you see what I'm saying? So, and then you're not identified. Like, I'm over it. Because then, when you don't want to be identified, that means you might be lying anyway. Because there might be somebody that say, "No, I know that heifer, she lying." Or she did this to so-and-so. Or we know, it could be brothers coming out, or men coming out of the woodwork saying, "No, she's a dirty whore, and she's done this and the third." I want y'all cheating. Not gonna know. What type of tea is the Jedi drinking? Just see if y'all know me. Who were not identified, accused Cuba of non-consensual touching. Way of life, everybody. Way of life. When I tell you about that Christian vomit that offers you no way of life at all, as Muslims, we have a way of life from morning till night, from birth till death. And one of the many things that is a part of how we live our lives is a male never touches a female who's not his mama, his auntie, his grandmama, his sister, his niece, his cousin. You don't even shake her hand, you definitely don't hug, and you're definitely not kissing. And Muslim men are not alone with women that we're not married to or related to unless we are chaperoned. So God is taking care of all of this. But he's also said that which is wicked will be made to seem normal to them. You're living in the crack ass of Satan. I just saw this an episode of some new show I think Tyler Perry has called Sisters, and there's a character on there. He's got his father is gay, so he has two fathers, but anyways, this sister sleeps with him, and they're not married. You see what I'm saying? This is fine though. Again, the capital of evil. This stuff is not okay. But there he is. They're going to have sex together. And he just performs oral on her. And that's it. Gave her her life. Her entire existence. And she is, she's concerned that he didn't, want a reciprocation if they didn't go over to the next level. But why are you giving up your body, first of all, to a man you're not married to, and whose sexuality you're in kind of questioning about? I mean, there's so many stacks of things that are wrong with this. But there it is. Sin as entertainment. But non-consensual touching, grabbing, groping, kissing, licking, and threats of professional sabotage. I've not heard a crime in this. I'll read it again. The women who were not identified, because they're lying whores, accused Gooding of non-consensual touching, grabbing, groping, kissing, licking, and threats of professional sabotage. Let me read the part where he took somebody by gunpoint. Show me the part where he duct taped somebody's mouth and bound their hands and put them in the trunk of a car. Didn't read that. I've read touching, grabbing, groping, kissing, licking, and threats. Threats of professional sabotage, like you won't be, I'll ruin your career. I've not heard a crime. And I've certainly not heard a crime worthy of destroying this man's life now, years later. You see? One of the women accused Cuba of sliding his hands inside her pants and cupping her buttocks without her consent at a Turkish restaurant in Atlanta in 2011. So run for the hills. Did you punch him? You see, that's the other thing in all of this. Women have the right to physically defend themselves. So in this case, she accused him of sliding his hand, plural, into her pants and cupping her buttocks without her permission, without her consent. First of all, I don't believe that. And if that's true, I would think any woman or man, your reaction would be to turn around and smack the shit out of them. Remember Terry Crews when he said the dude groped him? I feel like he said his wife had to tell him, like, whoa. But again, even in that case with Terry Crews, he thought more about his career and money over his dignity. I tell you, my principle is not for sale, everybody. I've told you I've lost jobs knowing I'm going to lose a job because I'm about to do the right thing. I know it. I wake up that morning and go, well, today's the day I'm going to lose my job because I'm not a go along to get along. Here I go. You see, either you stand on principle or you don't. Either you have faith in your Creator or you don't. Because the moment you say, well, I can't do that because I have to keep my job, then you've just denied your faith in the divine and His infinite power. You do what needs to be done out of righteousness and know that God will provide for you. That's what's real. Oh, but you don't know the Creator. I'm sorry. You only know Jesus, who's supposed to be a son, which God doesn't have a son, and God has never come to earth, and God wouldn't kill himself, and wouldn't get, it's a whole thing. I don't want to get into it. Where's my tea at? So, we just have to be hard truth about this, everybody. You see what I'm saying? I'm here to snap you back. So he did this in 2011, allegedly. When she confronted him, not she punched him at the moment and they were at a restaurant, this Turkish restaurant in Atlanta. So, I didn't call for security and call the police and make a big stink of it then. No. I will wait till 2019. Let's see. 2019 looks like a good year. You guys, is my schedule free? Am I free? Okay, 2019 looks good for me. That's when I'll come forward. When she confronted him, the document says the actor allegedly stated in response, I know what you want to be, an actress. I can ruin you. So is that why you didn't come forward? The actor's lawyer, Mark J. Heller, said his client denies all allegations of criminal conduct. And this, again, I'm not hearing anything criminal here. I'm not hearing criminal. You want to say inappropriate? Absolutely. But let's not get criminal. Denies all allegations of criminal conduct and said, quote, unfortunately, people come out of the woodwork making false allegations about Cuba, as oftentimes happens when a celebrity is accused by the district attorney's office in a public forum, end quote. This, and then quote, the spurious, uncharged allegations offered by the district attorney's office are so ancient and outdated and lacking in details and impairs the defendant from defending against them, end quote, Heller added. In the court filing, prosecutors said the allegations demonstrate the actor's pattern of intentionally touching women without their consent. They claim Gooding does it, quote, for the purpose of gratifying his own sexual desire, end quote, and, quote, degrading and abusing the women he has targeted, end quote, the document states. Prosecutors are asking, listen, prosecutors are asking, and he's hanging around too many damn white women, you know, and it just get too free and just too, it's different, man. It's just different. It's different. It's different. It's different. Prosecutors are asking the court to allow, and then I want to know how much alcohol was involved in all of this too. You see, case by case. You see, again, drinking, consuming alcohol, something the righteous people don't do. Prosecutors are asking the court to allow evidence of uncharged alleged conduct to be introduced in the case in order to establish a pattern of behavior commonly referred to as Molyneux evidence. Listen, hear that? Prosecutors are asking the court to allow evidence of uncharged alleged conduct. That means nobody's bringing that up. He's not been charged for that. But we want to bring that in to show a pattern. Because when white folks say you're guilty, they want you to be guilty no matter what. I cite for you O.J. Simpson. They put on weeks of this domestic violence bullshit from when he had or had not done something to this Nicole person when they were together. They had the 911 call and they had the photographs. That's all fine. Again, a both and proposition. That's fine, but that's going to be a domestic violence case. Excuse me, miss, we're doing a murder case here. Could you please move out of the way so that we could get to that case? Could you just, is there any way you could just, maybe you could just go to the back or something. Maybe you could just move back, you see. So that was supposed to be it. And in the minds of most and many whites right now, as it relates to the O.J. Simpson case, they're still there. Well, there was a mountain of evidence. That's what's in their mind. What did the jury foreperson, the black chick, say when the press ran her down after the verdict? Listen, this was not a domestic violence case. She spoke for everybody black on the planet. Because we were sitting there going, when are they going to get to the murder case? When are they going to get to that? You see? And they thought that this domestic violence stuff, which would have worked with a white jury, well, that equals murder. Years later, when they're no longer together, they live in different parts of the city, he's not even the first person to be notified in the event of anything that happens to her ass, etc., etc. No, let's bring that in. You see? So that's essentially what you have here. Same white patterns. Again, prosecutors are asking the court to allow evidence of uncharged alleged conduct to be introduced in the case in order to establish a pattern of behavior. Nah, that is to prejudice the jury. See, well, because then they will blur the lines, and then the jury's think, well, he did that too. In this case. But that stuff, nobody's bringing up. He's not even charged for that, but they want to bring that up. I'm over it. The uncharged incidents include the allegations from the 7 new witnesses and 12 others who came forward in recent months. In other words, heifers that didn't even know that anything was going on, now they want to come in now. They're not charging with anything, but let's bring that in too. No, it's not fair. It's not fair. 7 new witnesses and 12 others who came forward in recent months. In the court, if the court does not allow all of them, Vance is asking the court to allow prosecutors to decide which ones to introduce during the trial. Listen, the truth is the truth. So why do you got to parse out and pick out? I always hate that about court proceedings where they have to have sidebars and wrangle about what's going to be allowed in and what's not. If this is all part of what happened, bring the shit in. No, we just want to only show what we want to show. Nah, I'm over it. The actor's next court hearing is scheduled for 22nd January. And then what's directly under this? Meet the wives of NFL biggest stars. And the first thing I see is a white heifer with a brother. Just random. I happen to see that right now. Look at that. You feel me? This is a problem. This is a problem. I'm so over it. I'm so over it. And then we got to, and here's Cuba. And we got to sit here and watch him parade it back and forth. You know, it's like even with it reminds me of the Michael Vick thing. You know, there was I didn't know who Michael Vick was before that, because y'all know I'm not a sports fan. I'm not into hip hop. I'm not. That's not my lane. So certainly I didn't know who Michael Vick was. But this was over fucking dogs. I don't see that same level of outrage of how they're treating immigrant Mexican Latino people at the fucking border. There was a kid that died recently. It's the first time in history that people have died in custody at the border since this white devil has been in office. There's several deaths that have taken place. This was among them. But when they showed the video, they are sleeping on concrete floors and they're giving them tin foil to use to cover themselves as blankets. Tin foil. But they had more outrage for Michael Vick over a fucking dog. I saw white bitches out there tearing up their season tickets over Michael Vick. And as African people, we know they've always cared more about fucking animals than they care about human beings. Period. The end. That's not up for debate. That's just the hard damn truth. And we didn't make it such. That's what their behavior is. That's who they are. Anyway, here's how I want to close this, to say this. I'm over the R. Kelly thing because of the reasons that I've stated. Because in the bigger picture of everything, this is hypocrisy. As I stated and cited, none of the alleged or so-called victims was held at gunpoint. Nobody was held against their will. Nobody was told they couldn't leave. Nobody, and don't give me brainwashing. I'm over that. I'm just over it. Like, I don't believe that. R. Kelly is not an intellectual person. Go and watch interviews of him. He's a nice guy and all that stuff, and no shade, but he's just not an intellectual dude. You see? And he's not sophisticated. So there has to one and one go together. So don't give me that then he's suddenly this psychological mastermind. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. So any of these females coming out now with all of this, if you're going to watch it, what you need to be listening for is the part where they were forced to do anything. Listen for that. This chick that I cited earlier, she said that he sent in his one of his trainers, this lady that was supposed to show her how to make love to him. Well then, why didn't you run for the door then, bitch? Why? Tell me the part where you bolted for the door and you were stopped and some net came out of the sky and stopped you, or there was armed guards. That's the part I want to hear. If not, get out of my face. Because this is out of control, everybody. And it also distracts from the true crime, and that is the ongoing suppression and oppression of African people and our issues. I just watched this Cop Watch thing that they had on, I think it was BET, and it made me sick because I seen muscle-bound brothers. God bless them, they're doing what they think is right. But marching and protesting, that's all you get? Nah. Anything worth having, you got to be willing to give your very last breath for it. And if you're not, then you're not doing anything. You're just not. But I don't want to get too far from that. I may come back and do something on that. So that's where I'm at with R. Kelly, and that's where I'm at with Cuba Gooding Jr. And it's almost worse for me in the Cuba Gooding Jr. situation because, I'm happy to try and pull up another article, but we heard nothing, we read nothing that would rise to the level of, now go and destroy this man's life and career. Forget the career. Just destroy his dignity and his humanity as a human being. You see? I didn't see anything. We didn't read anything Uh, excuse me. The one that I read you was from 5 days ago. It's from CNN. I'll just briefly look at this one from Reuters. That was from October, because that's a little while ago, and just to see, this is from October 30th. While that's coming up, I want to say this. His situation is, oh, by the way, you guys, this is so random, and they're not paying me for this, sadly. This is your life. This is your life. This is known as a Chico stick. If you don't love this, then God doesn't love you. There's it. I said I would do this. These are everything, y'all. These are everything. When I go to Family Dollar, they are 95 cents. I usually buy a handful of them. You can't eat just one. This is your life, the Chico stick. Anyways, Cuba's situation is worse. Can't think of the word. It's worse for me because he didn't do nothing. I mean, there's nothing criminal. You know, we can use the word inappropriate. I'm cool with that. Absolutely. Because women should not be touching men ever. And men should not be touching women ever. Period. We've got to change the entire cycle. But as I said to you, in this society, you have been told, and many of you have young children, boys and girls, who the moment they're still in diapers, I always told you, first of all, you don't give boys no compliment of vanity at all. You so cute, where your little girlfriend at? Nah. They should be being raised to be intellectual, principled, fearless, successful human beings who will someday have a wife or a husband. There is no girlfriend, boyfriend, no dating. For what? What does that lead to? Nothing. Nothing. How many of y'all got ex-girlfriends and ex-boyfriends now that you're not married to? What did it mean? What did it mean? What did it mean? What did it mean? Nothing. It's just that you were told that that was the normal. You're supposed to have your little boyfriend. You're supposed to have your little girlfriend. For what? For what? Okay, this is from Reuters. We'll just go through this and we'll be over it. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. charged with unlawfully touching third woman, whatever. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. Already facing a criminal case over accusations he touched a woman's breast in a bar. Oh, I know. I was going to tell you guys I worked with his brother. I'll tell you that in a minute. Let me see how long this is. I'll tell you about his brother first. This isn't really that long, but I should tell you about his brother. So, anyways, I was working. Oh my God, where was I working? I think I was already. I was working for a law firm. Anyways, at that time I was working for a temp agency, and they had some extra work. There was Nintendo was coming out with some new game, and they needed 2 people, and I dressed up as the main character of this game. I can't remember the name of it, Yu-Gi-Oh or something. I'm not into video games. Anyway, and to go to this place, it was downtown DC, and that's where, you know, I met with the client, I put on the costume, and then Omar Gooding was there as well. He came with some guy, I don't know who the guy was, I don't know if he was a friend or an assistant, I don't know what he was. And he was there to, I don't know what his involvement was with Nintendo. I can't remember why he was there. I feel like it was a meet and greet or something. But I immediately knew who he was when I seen him, because I knew who he was already. And I introduced myself, and I was like, oh man, it's nice to meet you, and you know, I'm a fan of your brother, and I feel like he might have been on the Smart Guy then. Anyways, we worked that event together, you know. And I don't remember who the chick was that was also from the agency. I don't even remember if she was from my agency. I just don't remember. It's been too long. But he just was. We were there for a few hours, and he seemed very fidgety and like he just did not need to be there. I feel like he felt like first of all, I knew and have met a lot of celebrities. I've told you guys this. I should just do a whole video just about the celebrities that I know and have met. That's at least a 4-hour video. So he was nothing. I'm used to that. But I think he thought that I was more of a fan of his than I was. And so he was trying to give me that sort of Hollywood aloofness. And I really didn't care. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not that big of a fan of you. I just know who you are, and I know a little bit about your family and your brother. Like, settle down. And I just remember too that at one point he just vanished. He was just no longer at the event. He wasn't there. He literally vanished. And we were like, everybody was like, where did he go? We don't know. I didn't see him leave. I don't know when he left. He just vanished. Just vanished. Anyway, so that was my experience of working with Cuba Gooding's brother at some event in DC for Nintendo. Actor Cuba Jr. already facing a criminal case over accusation of he touched a woman's breast in a bar and pinched another's buttocks in a nightclub. So we just heard bar and nightclub. Alcohol. In America. Women wearing nothing. But he's facing criminal case over accusations he touched a woman's breast in a bar and pinched another's buttocks in a nightclub. You feel what I'm saying? This is all inappropriate. Again, you're back in the crack house and you want to complain that there's not Versace sofas. Has been charged in connection with a third woman, his lawyer said on Wednesday. He is expected to appear in court Thursday and plead not guilty to the charges, according to his lawyer, Mark Heller. The charges are not yet public, and a spokeswoman for Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance declined to provide details. Heller said the charges stemming from the third accuser were similar, in quote, to those involving the other two women, and that all are misdemeanors. Did they tell us when? They don't name the year. Each accuser is totally fraudulent, Heller said, adding that there was video of all three alleged incidents exonerating his client. Okay? Cuba, who's 51, won a Best Supporting Oscar. Okay, we know that. We don't need to know that. Okay, he was previously charged with one count of forcible touching and one count of sexual abuse in connection with each of the first two accusers. He pleaded not guilty on 15th of October. Prosecutors said at the time that they hoped to establish a pattern of behavior at Gooding's trial using testimony from 12 additional women who have said they were subjected to unwanted touching and advances by the actor in bars and clubs. You're in a bar and in a club. People are drinking alcohol. Your inhibitions are down. All kinds of everything inappropriate goes on there. I'm over it. We're back in the crack house again, everybody. And you're complaining there's not Versace furniture. We're not reading the rest of this. I'm over it. I'm just over it. Wait, I seen Weinstein. Gooding who was divorced, is one of a dozen men in politics, entertainment, and sports, and business who have been accused of sexual misconduct since allegations against movie producer Harvey Weinstein triggered the Me Too movement. You see? So they get this big Zionist Jew, just big Zionist. You get this big Zionist who's accused of something, and then now let's go looking for everybody else. And he's the one dude we've not seen paraded anywhere. And he's just paying off settlements and all of it. I'm over it. And by the way, the Weinstein Company is still in business and making movies and making money. I feel like they changed their name or something like that. But why doesn't that get a chance to go away? How come all the movies ever produced by that company don't go away? But we're supposed to cancel Michael Jackson. We're supposed to cancel R. Kelly. Soon we're going to have to cancel Cuba Gooding Jr. and all this stuff. I'm over it. The double fucking standard. You understand? So don't bring me R. Kelly. Don't bring me that. When you want to bring him to me or Cuba or anybody else, and you want to tell me that they had a gun to somebody's head and that the person was a Muslim woman who was in hijab and in niqab, and she was holding her Holy Quran and making prayer, and oh my God, they came with gun and duct tape and dragged her away against her will, kicking and screaming, and I will hear you. But don't give me slutty ass environment where anything goes and now suddenly this is a problem. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. It's inconsistent. Meanwhile, Weinstein is scheduled to stand trial in New York in January on charges of... But how many people in the jail since we heard about his fat ass? But he's scheduled to stand trial in New York in January on charges of rape and assault involving 2 women. He has denied any non-consensual sex, but then there's a whole list of women that he just... It was a groundbreaking court case because it was so many millions that are being paid out all at once to these women. And oh, by the way, he's not paying it. It's the insurance that's paying it. Not him. The insurance. The insurance. So he wasn't canceled, homie. The insurance is paid. Just like when the little liar that Michael Jackson paid $20 million to, the insurance paid that, not Michael Jackson. The insurance paid that. So this is the same with Weinstein. The insurance will pay these women, not Weinstein. The insurance will pay it. I need to be very clear about that. The insurance is paying their asses. Do you understand me? So this is a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem. So again, I say for victims who maybe you were a child or you were a teenager or even if you were an adult and somebody did something to you or something like that, forcibly, that's different. You understand? And you retain, in my view, I will never deny your right or your decision that you couldn't come forward, you couldn't tell, and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. As I opened up my video with saying both can exist in the same place. This is not an either or, and it seems that most people want an either or. Nah, it's both and. You understand? All that can still be valid, and this can still be some bullshit with R. Kelly. Period. The damn end. The Jedi has spoken.